So you want to get that line following down and through the track. So as you can see, I've marked it here and here, and we're going to cut this. And then that way, these wheels will end up being parallel to this surface. And I determined that's the area where I want to cut because it puts this second or aft idler gear or idler wheel at an angle that makes this look like a triangle. So we're going to go for the triangle look of these tracks. And I want this here because I want this to be able to go around, come up, and I'm going to put a couple more little things here where it'll ride through, and you guys will see it. So now we're going to cut this right here. And now we're going to test fit. Open that up so this hits. So that's gonna be pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to transfer this angle and its position onto this one so that they end up being the same. So we know this is the front. Right here. So what we do is we match these up back to back. Get them as close as possible. And we just retrace our line on the back side. So now that's where we're going to cut it. So if we did that right, this should work over here. See? Pretty good. Looks correct. So now it's just cleaning this up, this area. So you can see it's going to fit nicely once I glue it. So another thing we're going to have to do is in the back, see how this whole section under here is going to be open. So I'm going to have to build this. This whole area here is open. So I'm going to have to build something in here with poster board and rivets and basically kind of make a deck that looks like this in the back so that it looks like some cool tracks. So let me go ahead and finish this and we'll come back. Okay, so I'm going to remove this because I want these plates to sit flat and flush, and obviously they can't with that in the way. So on this side I've already removed it. This one here is almost prepped and ready to go. You can see how it's clean. All I have is that one pin. So, and it's going to sit flush right here. This surface across here, that line, there's like an imaginary line that goes across there. Or I guess it's not imaginary, it's right there. It's going to go as you close this door right there, and it's going to sit right on this line. Just like that. So that gives me a good position to glue this on and set it so that when I glue the other side on, then I also know that they're parallel and even. So when I set it down on the base here, then I'll know that they'll sit flat. There's a little bit of a curve to that base. I don't know, I'll have to take that out, maybe put some heat on it. So this one's pretty much done, almost ready to be glued on. So now what we got to do is we're going to cut this off and then prep this one a little bit more, and we can glue them on. So now we got these two the exact same. So now they're ready to glue on to the Gorkanaut himself. Then we can start messing with the tracks. Moving right along. Going to be about a 3-part series, I think. We'll be able to wrap this one up. Oh, here's this too. So I've determined that I'm going to use this tube. This tube came off of a, I think like a WD-40 bottle, or one of those cans of air that you use to spray your computers out, you know, the dust out of your computer. And that I got lucky, and that happens to fit right in there. I drilled this out, have a piece of plastic tube. That plastic tube, I drilled it out so that presses in right there. So now this gear, drive gear, it slides right in. It'll go inside here once we cut that all up. And then that drive gear obviously is the setup for this. So it went down right down the middle. So perfect. This is going to be easy. This is one of the easier conversions. The hardest part is going to be when we get into making the claw and putting some hydraulics and stuff on here. That gets a little bit tough. And then figuring out what we're going to do with the gun. But these tracks, I think these tracks are going to be easy. Okay, so on these, last thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these two. And we're going to place these two under here, so that track will travel up and around and have more of a uniform shape. First, we're going to see if I want the track to hang down, right? Because sometimes that flimsy, floppy look on those tracks looks a lot better. It looks more like an orc put it together because it's all sloppy. If I put two of these up here and make that track roll around tight, it might not look orky enough. So that's something we're going to discuss, or something we're going to think about. But definitely they can't go here because that track no longer travels across there, right? So to have those there, it's not, doesn't make any sense. So we're going to remove these and hopefully put them up top. Always try to use the sharpest blade possible. And there's a big reason for that. The more that you convert or build models, the more you realize that when you take a dull blade, you have to apply so much more pressure to get that blade to cut the same amount of material than a sharp blade. And where you're applying tons of pressure and pushing on a part really hard, when that blade slips and hits your finger, your thumb, or whatever, it does a lot more damage than having a nice, easy cut. Nice, smooth, nice, easy cut. There we go, easy money. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to glue these on. You guys, I'm just going to super glue them. You guys don't need to watch that. And once these get glued on and dried, I'm going to test fit a few things and then I'll come back. Okay, the tracks are on. So not the tracks, but the idlers and the wheels. So they're glued. So I think it's going to look pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I also noticed this. I'm going to take this piece, the PZ2 deck, and I'm going to shave it and grind it and shape it so that it's going to slide in between these 2 points here all the way to the back of this rear deck. What that does is it allows me to have features and things like the grill and other stuff underneath here that when you actually look from the rear, or you pick this model up and look, you'll see that it's just not flat poster board. So I wasn't expecting to use this, but it looks like now I'm going to be able to. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this somewhere right behind here, right behind the turret, right behind those, right along that line there where those 2 hinge points are. Possibly take this off. I think that will come off once I cut it. And then again, shape it and slide it right underneath there. And these 2 engine grill areas are actually going to be able to be seen and stick out. Then across the back, it's just going to be simple. Fill it with something, some type of boxes or some type of something that looks like it's a truck or whatever. Because this is going to get glued to the base and be permanent, the underneath, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see any of this under here. So when I put a flat piece of poster board or whatever I'm going to do for a solution under here, you're never going to see it once I glue it down. So again, that is something that's very minimal. It's minor. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so day 2 of our Gorkanator project. The last time I left you guys, we were working on this back piece, this lower deck plate as an insert. So we went ahead, got it all glued up, got it cut out. So you can tell the vents are kind of sticking out as we wanted. So this looks like an actual part of the model. Once we prime it, get it the same color, start painting it, it's going to look like a GW, mold guy went ahead and, designer created it this way. We will fill in with some poster board underneath here just to kind of hide the ability to kind of look down and see the ground underneath. We have to cover this back piece, so we have to put like a little square plate across here, cover underneath here with a little plate, some poster board just to kind of seal that up. But again, we talked about last video or last section that we don't really care about this, because once we get it on the base, you'll never see it. Nobody's going to be able to pick it up and start looking and digging around under there. So we have this track that came with it, or came with the old PZ2 German model. So I did a quick mock-up and I think it's going to look good. So this one obviously goes around. Where's that piece? There it is. So that goes in there. So this fits on here. Fits like this. We're going to glue the seam to the bottom in between those tracks. And then this will go around like this. And so just so you can get an idea, that's sort of what it's going to look like. So what I'm going to do though is this track is obviously, to me, it's too thin. I shouldn't say obviously, but to me it's too thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take poster board and I'm going to lay poster board over the tracks. This is not necessarily the size. This is just for reference. We're going to lay poster board over the tracks, over the top, and then we're going to put 2 rivets. So we're going to rivet tracks, or fake rivets. So we're going to bond or glue poster board to the actual rubber track, and then we're going to put fake little rivets on here as though the orc's riveted to the undersurface. You'll notice here on this side we have a small idler gear or positioner or tensioner, right? On this side I took it off and I put one of these here instead. I like the look of this and this size wheel here over this look and a smaller wheel here. So this is just looks better. In addition, we're going to take one of these smaller ones and we're going to replace this one that will control where the track rides, and we're going to put one somewhere right around in here. So we are going to have an additional guide that will fit right in here. So it'll make this look nice. Put something in here because we need a little bit of activity here. We may even take this armor plate, depending on how it looks, and we may come down over the track just in a small section across here. What that does is it actually breaks up the track line and it makes it look just kind of gives it a more dimension. So you have the track, and then all of a sudden in a little section here the track will disappear and it'll be hidden. So it just some artistic content that we're going to add into the model. Okay, so let me get working on it. I'll come back and I'll update you with the progress. Keep this thing moving forward, but it's moving along quickly. I've got maybe 2.5 hours into this, maybe 3 total with doing the video and cutting and hacking and getting this to this stage. So this is pretty quick. So first I'll update you, give you a real quick shot. So we went ahead and sealed this or covered this. So now, as I discussed, when a person tries to look through these grates or these vents, or tries to look through to see underneath, we've covered it. So now when I prime it black and paint it black, it's just going to be dark under there. You can't see through, won't be able to see the base or the terrain. Same with this. This is enough. This is done. What I'll do is I'll put an extra little lip over here, put some rivets just to kind of finish that off, but we're not going to do any more under here. So just to catch you up on this one is over or done right here. So real quick, while I was thinking about it, the reason I popped in is because I wanted to show you a trick with the tracks. So you'll notice that I have a track here that is bent, and I have one now that is flat. This track came off my son's PZ2, that old German kit from that tester's kit. When working with the track, if you try to lay it flat, it doesn't lay flat anymore. As you can watch this, right? It has the shape of, you know, being bent or folded or being on the vehicle for a length of time. So it's hard to work with. Okay, So you can hold it, you could set a pencil or book or scissors or whatever, like, right? So if you want to work with it, there, I mean, you can work with it. But here's the trick. Today's a sunny day. So you take this, and for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I just put this out on the front porch and let the sun hit it. This track was in the same condition that this track was in. And now you can see it's totally different. That little bit of heat and that little bit of sun has now flattened that track back out perfectly, like it's a brand new track. So now when I get ready to add my plates and I start to glue and I start to work with this track all the way down the length, it's easier to work with. Much easier to glue, bond, put some, tubes across these tracks inside here. Just way easier. So while I was remembering that, or while I was doing this, I just wanted to give you guys that little tip or that little trick. And these little tips and these little tricks, tricks of the trade, I guess you'd call them, it just comes from experience and knowledge on how to do this stuff. So this is a benefit that I'm giving to you guys for popping in and watching these things and being a subscriber. So again, just one of the benefits. Please let all your friends know that these tips are free. So anyway, I'm going to continue and we'll be back. Beautiful day outside today. Today's Saturday. I'm stuck in the house because I'm working, not on this project, but actually working. I got things to do to get paid so I can continue my plastic crack habit. So just wanted to show you these treads, show you where we moved them forward. You can tell I've got the actual rubber track laid out. I have some treads glued on. I've actually started to do some riveting. So putting the little rivets on there, and that's just for artistic content. This is going to wrap this one up. Part 2, I'm going to close this one out because we're just basically dealing with the treads. The next section, part 3, which we're going to finalize this baby. We're going to base it. We're going to put the tracks on. We're going to do some more artistic content with the armor plates possibly coming off the side here. I got to put the head in. The engine deck that is supposed to go back on the Gorkanaut is gone. So I'm going to do a Phantom of the Opera style with an organ with the pipes basically coming up. And so I'm going to have a big fan back here. So use my fingers to kind of give you an example. I'm going to have a big fan of pipes, which is coming out from back here. So it's going to make this look really cool with all them exotic pipes and holes and drills and bent stuff, going to look cool. So we're going to wrap this one up. Please share, like, and subscribe. Your guys' word of mouth is the way I'm going to get this channel out there. Let people know it's out there on all your social media pages if you can. Hit that notification button because part 3 is coming up pretty soon. In the next couple days I'll post part 3. That's where we're going to wrap this baby up, show a completion. But I appreciate all the support from everybody. Like we always say on the channel, may all your dice rolls come up 6s unless you're looking for a 1. Peace out.